What's up, everybody? I'm Cyrus, the drummer of New Found Glory, and this is our bus, our little home. I started playing drums when I was like 14 or 15, kind of a late bloomer, according to most people, but it was basically because I had been playing guitar for a whole bunch of years. I remember trying to start a band with my two best friends, and all of us wanted to be a guitar player, and that doesn't work. So I basically said, I'll try it, and I'll be the drummer. And I haven't looked back since then. But I definitely also remember like the first time that I figured out a drum beat, and you know, it was like such an accomplishment. It seemed so hard at the time to just figure out, 20 seconds of a song. But once I did that, it was just like, that's what I focused on. And that's kind of like how I started getting into playing the drums, and how I learned all my original stuff. I'm self-taught. I didn't take any lessons. Not saying that's a good thing. That's just what happened. But what I basically did was just listen to bands and drummers and anything that I could, try to focus on the drums, figure out what they're doing, and then slowly try to play those parts. As far as like actual drummers or big influences for me, it may not be your typical influences, again, because I was self-taught. I didn't necessarily look up to all the greats, or at least right in the beginning of playing drums. It was all just the bands I was listening to. So at that time it was bands like, and it was ranged, like crazy range from Rage Against the Machine or like a Pearl Jam, all the way to like Metallica and Pantera. And then even when I first started listening to like punk rock music and pop punk stuff, Green Day, Trey Coles was a pretty big influence on me, and actually Green Day a pretty big influence on our band. But bands like Blink-182, NoFX, Lagwagon, I've definitely looked into a lot of the greats, people like Steve Smith. It's funny, it's all pretty much the people who put out the DVDs, like Steve Smith. John Blackwell is an amazing drummer. I think even being on tour, like every drummer I'm around, I usually pick up little things here and there, or kind of notice their style compared to my style, and over time I can develop my playing even more. A couple of years after I started playing drums, it was actually about 1997, right around my hometown area. I would go to a couple shows here and there, and friends of mine started talking about this band called A New Found Glory. And it was a band that had just started a couple months ago. They had a drummer, and they were about to put out a CD and start playing a lot of shows, and I guess the drummer just wasn't really feeling it, or didn't really want to commit to the band. So through just random kind of grapevine, our singer Jordan contacted me and called me and asked me if I'd like to try out. And I played a couple practices with them. I'll never forget the first practice I ever did. Right after a couple songs, they're just like, "You're awesome, you're playing this stuff well, you just need to hit harder." And I'll never forget that, and I think to this day I'm still, I always have it in the back of my mind, and still kind of thinking about that stuff on stage when I'm playing. So anyways, that was like 97, and we started the band. We did play a lot of shows in South Florida, slowly pushed our way, out of Florida, up the East Coast, out to California. Shows got bigger, got, from 100 to 1,000 to 3,000, and, this is over a couple years, but with a couple records on major label and countless tours later. Now it's 2009, and here we are today in Boston for probably the 15th time, and that was 12 years ago. So right now in New Found Glory, the year 2009. It's a great year for us. We just released a new record, Not Without a Fight, on Epitaph Records. It's actually a new label for us. We had been on major labels for a long time, almost our entire career, and a couple years ago just decided we didn't want to do that anymore, and we were looking for a label. Epitaph was one of the first labels to contact us, and they're amazing. They have a great history, been around forever. Brett Gerwitz, the owner of that label, he's in Bad Religion, which is a great band themselves, and he just gets it, kind of understands what's going on in music right now. So he's big on touring, and that's what we're actually doing right now, touring in support of this record. We'll be doing that for a while, probably for the next year and a half easily, going all over the world. I love the way that our new record came out. I love the way the songs came out. There's like an energy and almost a little bit of an aggression that kind of came back to New Found Glory from the last couple of years. And a lot of people say it kind of sounds like our older stuff, but we had a great time doing it. We recorded it with Mark Hoppus from Blink-182. He's a really good friend of ours. Kids are loving it. We're playing songs live and stuff, and everybody just kind of, they know and they get it right away. And it's a media impact live. Really fun to play the songs that we've been playing live, and everything just seems to be working right now with our band. The future for New Found Glory is going to be more of that, just more touring, and we'll be doing another record within the next couple of years, and we'll just repeat and keep going over and over and over again. And that's fine with us. We'll do it as long as we can. Back in, I think it was 1999, which was about 10 years ago, I actually, before that, probably about a year before that, just being a regular drummer, I, in New Found Glory, started playing Vater sticks. And I played them randomly before. I didn't really have a stick. I was just kind of going to the stores and buying whatever I could. But once we started touring a lot, you know, I needed to find the same stick and a stick that I could use and go replace if I needed to. I had picked up a pair of Vater, they were the Fatback 3As, and started playing with those. Absolutely loved them. When I would go to, like, you know, whatever store to buy them, I would try to buy as many pairs as I could, or as many pairs as I could afford, but eventually I would always break them. And then as we started traveling around the country, some stores wouldn't have them, and it was you know, it was just frustrating. And I tried other models, but I really wanted, you know, that one model stick. I basically decided that, you know, kind of enough's enough, and I needed to start talking to some of these companies, and specifically Vater, because they were the sticks I was using. Wrote myself a letter and sent it off to Chad and everybody over at Vater, and surprisingly they wrote back and called back, and it was actually the first company that ever helped me out, and I've been using Vater stuff ever since. That was 10 years ago, and it was a great relationship from the start. Hooked me up with what I needed, which was, let me buy some sticks from you, and I don't have to worry about going to the stores. And it started with those 3/8 Fatbacks. I tried 1As. I went to Universals for a while. I actually had my own stick for a little while called the Commander, and that was kind of like a Universal, just a little different. And now, you know, over a decade later, or about a decade later, I'm on the Nude 5B. A couple years ago on Warped Tour, I ran into Brooks Wackerman from Bad Religion, and I noticed he was using these Nude 5B sticks. And one thing that I had been doing for a long time with my sticks, but actually wasn't really too big into, was I always wrap my sticks with grip tape. If you look at any of the old, like, Vater ads, or just random pictures of New Found, you'll notice I always had stick tape on here. And I always felt in the back of my mind, even though I never really told anybody, you know, it kind of sucked. Like, I felt like I couldn't play drums or play well without stick tape. And I just decided I really wanted to try to find a stick that would work for me, and it wouldn't slip out of my hand, or I wouldn't, you know, get cramps by trying to hold it too tight. So I tried those Nude 5Bs. Brooks was like, he said he loved them, and I really look up to Brooks right now as an influence. So I tried them, and ever since then they've been awesome. Like, I've never had to use grip tape with these. I didn't really get you know, crazy or different calluses or any of that kind of stuff. They feel so good. So, you know, in today's world, you go and you see a lot of drummers take sticks and they, like, sand them down and do all these different things to try to increase the grip. I mean, this is basically what the stick is, and it's definitely, you know, what it works best for me. Like I said, it's a perfect fit for me, and I think I'll be using this, or at least the Nude kind of sticks, for a while. When I prepare for shows, you know, it changes based on where we are. How long the set is like a pretty big factor. But one thing that's really important to me when I'm getting ready for a show is to be able to relax, and also at the same time stretch. And that's actually a huge thing. I think more so than some of the kind of, you know, finger techniques or actual chops that people like play around with before they go on stage. I don't even have to have the sticks or a pad. I just stretch. I'm definitely very animated on stage, and I make kind of large movements, and I pour a lot of my energy out. So if any part of my body gets screwed up, it's going to be hard for me to play. So I'll definitely stretch for, like, I'll try at least 10 to 20 minutes, almost up to 30. After I stretch, I'll grab sticks and a pad. A lot of times I actually use a pair of weighted sticks, definitely not to play, but just on the pad. Nothing too fancy. Again, don't really have, like, the chops to do that, or maybe I don't feel like I would compare it to some of these other guys that are out on the road. But I just sit there, single strokes, double strokes, you know, basic kind of rudiment stuff. Everything starting out at slow tempo, make sure that I kind of try to work it up to a faster tempo. You can definitely notice a difference if I go on stage without a warm-up as opposed to with a warm-up. It's just way more relaxed up there, and I'm less stiff if I can warm up, so it's a very important thing. Cyrus from New Found Glory, thank you very much for watching. I want to say thank you to Vater for all their support, and we'll see you soon, I'm sure, on the road, on tour, at a show. Come out and see us.